What's up, you salacious space cowboys? Mark with Cardivox Academy here, and today we're going to be talking about Electric Callboy's new song. Well, I'm a couple weeks behind, but new song, Spaceman, featuring Finch, who's got a very large YouTube channel, and I'm sure is involved in a bunch of other cool stuff as well. Now, if you're new to the channel, I myself am a metal vocal coach and metal vocalist. I specifically teach people how to do a lot of deathcore and death metal type sounds, but I love listening to and talking about all sorts of genres of music. And I'm currently in a band called Kardashev. We released a single through Metal Blade just a few weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. And I was also in two projects, Never Breath and Viremia. Those are basically defunct now. One's a little bit more black metal, one's a little bit more tech death. But you can check those out if you're interested. Now, what I do here is I take the reaction format, I break it down, and I make it as educational as I can. I focus mostly on vocals, and I'll tell you exactly what's going on, or if it's, kind of a different genre or something that's a little bit outside of what I normally go into, I'll just kind of tell you what I'm gathering from it, the things that I'm hearing and the things that I'm noticing. Now, if you love the content, if you have a good time, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot. I love watching the channel grow. And if you really love the content, if you absolutely adore it, first and foremost, thank you for your time. And you can check us out on Patreon. Patreon gives you access to our Discord server, which is really where we do everything. We don't really do anything on the actual Patreon platform. It's almost all entirely through Discord. And we have hangouts every Friday night. We have 2 vocal themed events per month. We have karaoke stuff. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. We've got people from all around the big spherical globe that we live on. So it's great. Anyways, I think that's enough from me. I think that's everything I need to say. Most people clicked past it anyway. Let's be honest. We know how these videos work. But let's go ahead. Let's check out Electric Callboy, Spaceman. Here we go.
I'm a spaceman, got a rocket on my back. Spaceman, oh I'm raving like a maniac. Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. The universe is down for my rave attack. 3, 2, 1.
Finchi Gagarin, dreh die Boxen doch mal auf. Gestern noch im Trockenbau, heute bin ich Kosmonaut. Ja, jeder kann sie sehen, da am Himmel weiße Streifen. Wer braucht von euch noch Beweise? Ja, die Erde ist bescheiden.
Okay, we're going to pause it there because as a metal vocalist, I want to give the screaming all the time that it deserves. But also, shoot, what are we, 43 seconds? It's always in the 40-second mark that the first pause happens. And, Electric Callboy is not wasting any time. They are already, they're already light years through the song, pun intended. First and foremost, the song has the goofy rave vibe that we all know and love, but let's talk vocals, right? That's why we're here. So the first thing to note is that he's using a very forward kind of pop influenced tone. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about like pop tone versus classical tone. You can think of it kind of how they developed. One developed in concert halls before microphones having to cut over an orchestra, right? So it's got big, wide open resonant tones, and you really want to get a lot of volume through that resonance. With a pop tone, it tends to be a lot more forward, right? And generally speaking, it doesn't have to be as loud. It also tends to have less vibrato, right? But if we're to talk about the tone for what it is, right? I think he was starting, I think it was that note. Yeah, that sounds about right. Hey. So one thing that's very interesting and very kind of nice about a lot of pop tones. Now, again, I'm simplifying here. I'm not speaking for all of pop vocal technique, just what I'm hearing in this song. It's very conversational. It's very similar to talking, right? So if I was to tell you like, hey, I'm a spaceman, I've got a rocket on my back. Listen to that tone. Hey, I'm a spaceman. I've got a rocket on my back. Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. Spaceman, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Now I've got a little bit more twang on there. I'm not a pop singer, right? I've spent absolutely 0% of my vocal career trying to sound like a pop singer, but you can hear that it's very forward and very conversational. This is a really important thing for us to know if we want to be like, singing, if we're mostly focused on cleans, or if we want to branch into metal vocals. The reason being, much of your voice, especially your chest voice, should feel very comfortable just like speaking. And what we do to modify it and give it flair happens in the way that we are holding the shape of our mouth, right? That's kind of what gives us a warmer tone, which is what we heard from, I believe, the guy rapping was Finch. Now, part of it was because from what a lot of my German students have told me, I'm not an expert on German. I can't speak it at all, but they've told me that when they speak German, their voice is often a little lower than when they speak English. So some of that comes from the language that we speak, right? But with this forward, like, hey, spaceman, got a rocket on my back, la na, ba da 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 da, right? My mouth is a little smaller. I'm not bringing up that soft palate. I'm not creating any space really at the back of the mouth. But if I was to be, wider, right? Aha, let me be your shelter. Forget these wide-eyed fears. I'm here. I'm also not a classical singer. Don't at me. It's not what I teach, but you can hear how that's a bigger, wider sound. Now, how does this translate to metal vocals, right? Really great question, because that's most of what we're here to talk about. Well, if I have a forward tone, if my voice is pointed forward, there is a lot less of a chance that my distortion is going to be down low. I'll show you with a really simple false chord tone. Like this is a very old school, very baseline false chord that most people can pick up pretty quick, right? So if I'm trying to be low, hey, hey, right? I'm pulling my voice down, hey, hey, hey. I feel most of the distortion here, right around my vocal folds. So your larynx is the big knobbly spot right here. You can feel it, I should say. And then right on the other side of that, you have your vocal folds. And generally speaking, we want to keep distortion away from the vocal folds as much as possible. Heavy distortion, squeezing, and pressure underneath the vocal folds. Those are three things we want to really avoid or be very, very careful with. I could make a whole video on that, but let's just keep it there for now, right? So I'm down here. It's all down there. I don't have a lot of control over it. If instead I'm forward, hey, 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 me, say. Granted, that's a very old school tone, but it works with anything. Right? Forward generally means up, and up generally means easier to control, sounds better, and it's safe. So if you want to practice having a forward tone, one of my favorite things just to kind of introduce this idea, before I get into any like detailed exercises with my students, one of my favorite things to do is just kind of have them talk like with a very stereotypical, sort of caricaturized New York accent. Now, if you're from New York, I know you don't talk like that. I know that it's only a small sliver, but it's a useful exercise, right? Hey, I'm walking here, huh? Hey, hey, I can feel my face buzzing in the front. My tongue is a bit up and forward. I'm creating space in the pharynx, right? Hey, 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 oh, hey, oh, hey. So, anyways, long story short, hey, spaceman, got a rocket on my back. Helps us not only have a decent singing tone, but bring the distortion forward. Let's go back a little bit and let's talk about this screaming here.
Dreh die Boxen doch mal auf, gestern noch im Trockenbau, heute bin ich Kosmonaut. Ja, ja, jeder kann sie sehen, da am Himmel weiße Streifen. Wer braucht von euch noch Beweise? Ja, die Erde ist eine Scheibe.
Well, bringing it higher. Okay, let's talk about those screams here. So those would definitely fall in the fry category, right? Now, if you've watched many of my videos, you know that in my view, and some people totally disagree with me on it, and that's fine. In my view, the false chord and fry dichotomy exists, but creates an overly binary idea of distortion and how it works, right? So a lot of times we will say, or I get this question a lot. Hey, Mark, is this scream or is my scream false chord or fry? And it's like, well, it's kind of a combination of things a lot of the time. For example, right, if I just do a pure false chord, nothing more, technically my arytenoids are rattling around as well. My vocal folds are fluttering around, but not touching, right? And that's what I have there. Now, if I take that false chord and I squeeze the top a little bit, don't just squeeze your false chords, right? If I engage the arytenoids above with the back of the tongue, I get what I think of as a more arytenoidal scream. Some people call that a fry scream. I don't, but some people do, right? If I add a little bit of actual fry distortion to that, you'll hear that the two are kind of existing at the same time, right? You can hear a little bit of that actual fry tone. The reason that I would put this mostly in the fry category, if I had to say in a black and white world what kind of scream this is because I do hear the vocal folds creating a little bit of healthy distortion. Now, with fry screams and the way that I think of them, and this isn't exclusive to me, by the way. I'm not trying to set myself apart or on a pedestal. Many other metal coaches who I have talked to, sometimes it's a little bit different, but we have the edges of our vocal cords going and we have the body of our vocal folds vibrating more typical to a speaking voice, right? And one way that you can kind of get this tone, this is not the vocal style that I really ever do for my music because it doesn't warrant it, but I can take my voice, hey, and I can give it a little, hey, they call me my religion is rage, right? And it's kind of similar. Let's go hear it again, and I'm going to try to match it a little bit more accurately.
Sie sehen, da am Himmel weiße Streifen. Wer braucht von euch noch Beweise? Ja, die Erde ist bescheiden. My name is Techno. I am traveling space. What kind of rocket on my back? You're my bang. I'm Techno. My religion is rave. When I bring it to the other one, so let me hear you say.
Yeah, so you can definitely hear some fry distortion underneath. I also feel like I hear his airstream a little bit tightened, a little bit narrowed. Now he's going to sound way better than I do because he's spent a lot of time training this scream. I've spent much more time training other types of screams, right? But if I was to take this, I think he said, my name is Techno, and then a bunch of other stuff. And then either my religion is rage or my religion is rave. Probably rave. If we think about the band, right? But if I'm here, yeah. So to get that sound, I have a little bit of fry distortion, and I also have what I am very familiar with, my false chords, and even that arytenoidal activation there. I'm not getting actual distortion from my arytenoids, but they are coming together to kind of bring things closer, right? If I just activate my arytenoid cartilages, which are above the vocal folds, right? Right there, kind of sounds like that, right? But if I drop, hey, my religion is rave. Yeah, that's pretty close. My religion is rave. He's got a much more wide mouth, and it does sound like he's opening up the back to give it a little bit more depth of tone. Anyways, that's how I would approach it. If I was in the studio and somebody was like, hey, Mark, you have to replicate that as close as you can right now, that's the way I would go about it. I would start here. Hey. I would actually use a false chord grunt to help me bridge the gap. A. I would slowly blend them together. Hey. That would give me almost like a high scream. Yeah. Hey. My religion is rave. And that's what I would do. It's not quite the same thing. He definitely sounds a lot better than I do, but that's how I would approach it. Let's keep going.
Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. Spaceman, oh, I'm raving like a maniac. Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. The universe is down for my rave attack.
Fred vorm Jupiter, steht vorm Supermarkt, dreht die Boombox an und geht zu Scooter A. Klau mir sein Raumschiff, fliege hoch Richtung Mars.
All right. We're gonna break that sound down. We are gonna break that sound down. I want to talk about the cleans first. So he sounded excellent. He was up in the 4th octave. That is super high. Now, notice how his vocal folds were very well connected. He wasn't hitting his falsetto. the way that you're going to get there, right? And that's I'll be real, that's pretty high for my voice type. Very high. The way that you're going to get there is by predominantly being relaxed, relying on open space and resonance placement, right? A lot of times when we try to hit these notes, we'll take the comfort of our chest voice, hey, and we'll pull it up, hey, right? And we get these really tight, really squeezed, really uncomfortable sensations, right? It's not going to be very useful for us. One thing you can do, and I've talked about this in other videos, one thing you can do if you're wanting to hit some higher notes, again, that is a note that if I was to try to hit it, I would really need to warm up. I would need to get a lot of sleep, make sure that my diet was really, really good, and I hadn't had as much coffee as I've had today, for sure. But if we want to start approaching higher notes, right, one thing that we can do is not worry about the highest note, but worry about slowly inching towards it, right? So for example, my vocal break, my passaggio, right, where my voice tends to want to flip into a falsetto is usually around F sharp. I gotta get my keyboard in a better spot, but right, kind of right there. Hopefully you can hear that. And if I try to take my normal speaking voice and just squeeze it up, hey, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't feel good. Hey, right? But if instead I start lower, hey, 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 if I relax, if I open and I utilize my abdominal muscles, again, thinking forward, it's going to be a lot easier. Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Again, not as high as this guy, but much more controllable. Again, one way that you can think about this is think about your speaking voice. Like if I was to call out to somebody, if I was hanging out with my buddies and we were, I don't know, at the mall, right? That's the example I usually give. And I call out, let's say I called out to Nico. Let's say I called out to Nico. Hey, Nico, hey, man, hey, right? Now I'm not shouting really hard. I'm not like pushing my voice. What's happening is I'm opening up space, relaxing my neck, and the resonance that I'm getting, the sound waves sort of bouncing around and folding over each other and projecting out. That's what's making my voice sound loud, but I'm not pushing it out. Hey, yo, right? So, granted, this guy is way up there, but he's also very relaxed. I'm sure he's going to do it again, but if you listen and you think about his voice, I want you to hear that there's no squeeze. So if you're at home, regardless of your voice type, and you're singing notes that are high for you, right, and you're squeezing, you can be certain that you're going in the wrong direction. And instead, think about moving from your comfort zone, la, 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 hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Go just there. Just go there. Once you get comfortable with that, nay, 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 you can start peeling back. Anyways, oh yeah, let's. I'm gonna go back so we can listen to a little bit of the music, but we're gonna analyze we're gonna talk about it because I'm gonna force it to happen. Here we go.
Steht vorm Supermarkt, dreht die Boombox an und geht zu Scooter. Klau mir sein Raumschiff, fliege hoch Richtung Mars.
Okay. So we're gonna talk now. There's probably maybe there's a phonetic term for this. I'm gonna try to put it together as best as I can. So, I love the funny stuff that Electric Callboy puts in their music. I feel like every song just has like something kind of goofy that I like. Anyways, so with that being said, I think this would fall under the trill category, right? And so phonetically speaking, when we're talking about a trill, we're talking about an active articulator engaging with a passive articulator. So for example, let's take the sound. My tongue is active. It's moving. It's physically doing something right now. Admittedly, the trill, part of the reason that's happening is because of the airflow moving, through that space. And for me, I create that sound kind of on the back of my teeth. Whoa, the frame rate of the camera makes my tongue look really weird. Anyway, so we would call that a lingua or lingual dental, right? Tongue, lingua, dental, teeth, lingua dental trill. And this one is a voiced lingua dental trill. Because you can hear my speaking voice. Now, as far as I know, I should say this. I don't know of any languages that naturally use a labial lingual. So it's not just a dirty word. Well, it's not a dirty word in any context. It's just a body word. But any sound involving your lips would be some sort of labial sound, right? So a bilabial plosive, two lip, right? So lingual labial, if we were to trill it, that's a lot faster than he's going. So if I we're going to call that a voiced lingual labial trill. We're going to call it a voiced lingual labial trill, and we'll even come up with our own IPA. Maybe if Ludo, our editor, is feeling frosty, he'll put it up on screen. If not, that's okay, bud. But we'll do two little brackets and a lightning bolt. A lightning bolt. That would look a lot like the zh phonetic symbol, but that's our symbol. Bracket, lightning bolt. Voiced lingual labial trill. I don't know if there's a phonetic word for slow versus fast, but if there is, put that in there somewhere. I'm sorry. Let's keep going.
My name is Echo. I am traveling space. What kind of rocket on my back? You're my brain. I'm dead though. My religion is Rave. When I'm bringing to the other one. So let me hear you say, Spaceman.
Yeah, the more I hear that screaming, the more I'm pretty confident in it. He is pairing it with a really nice open space. Right. And I think that that's where he's sounding a lot more in control of it than I would, or than I am in my current attempts. But like that, yay, nay, they call me techno, my. Yeah, there we go. We're getting somewhere. My religion is rave. Yeah. Okay, cool. See, sometimes I actually like doing songs that aren't 1000% what I do and what I teach, because I kind of get to play around and explore sounds with y'all watching. And that's a lot of fun. A lot of people like it. Some people don't like it. Sometimes the held for review section of the comments gets a bit spicy. But I like it when y'all kind of see the process of trying to figure these things out. So what I'm doing is I'm actually using, I have to kind of slightly circumvent what I said at the beginning of the video, because for this, I have a very open tone. I still have some of that frontal nasal coloring, right? But to get a more open sound that's a little bit better, not as thin and whiny, I'm creating a lot of space in the back. And if I take that, now I also am giving it quite a bit of support from my abdominal muscles. I don't know if you can see it. I kind of changed around the view, so maybe y'all can see what I'm doing a little bit more, right? But you can actually see me engaging my abdominal muscles. And this is true with every single type of vocal distortion I have ever used, encountered, analyzed, it doesn't matter. If you are not supporting properly down from your abdominal muscles, if you're not holding those ribs out, squeezing the abdominal muscles, letting the diaphragm, relax and move up, moving the air out, your distortion is going to feel very uncomfortable and unpredictable, right? Very uncomfortable. Maybe if you're singing with like a really low, quiet, gritty tone, it wouldn't apply as much. But if I'm trying to get my voice up and out, and I'm not projecting from down low, hey, you can see it right here, right? Check it out. Hey. The reason that doesn't hurt my throat and I don't have to squeeze the sound out is because I'm engaging my abdominal muscles here. Hey. And if I don't do that, I'm not going to give you an example because it would not feel good, right? If I don't do that, all of that distortion that I feel predominantly kind of at the top of my throat, which the top of your throat is kind of where your jaw curves right here, that I feel at the top of my throat would feel right behind my vocal folds. And I don't want to mess with that. You can if you want to, but take it from me, I don't suggest it, right? So, my religion is rage. Yeah, that's getting a lot closer. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. Oh.
Wo sind die Marsmenschen? Wo sind die Klingonen? Mach's wie mit meiner Ex, ich schieß euch alle auf den Mond. Meine Leberwurst geschnallt, fliegt die Kehle, küsst durchs All. Immer weiter von uns weg, danke Schwerelosigkeit. Und dann, yeah, ist der Weltenlohn. Hier kommt der Raketenhahn, wie Walla Elton John.
Oh.
Rave on, no matter where you fuck it up. When you say nothing but isn't it better? Trust a man, what is way to rescue universe? Spaceman, gotta rock it.
That section was sick. That section was awesome. Not just because it sounded neat, but because he was using that same like fry heavy, we'll just call it a fry scream, but understand that, in my opinion, there is more than just a fry tone happening here. But one thing that's really cool is he was doing different timbres, different tones. So he had a very low warm tone. Then he sort of added some high frequency to it. He brought it forward, added some nasality to it. And that was dope. I actually want to hear that section again. Also, I wonder if they had to get license or some sort of permission for the Twillick. Probably not because it's just a costume, but it's a question. It's a question. I think it happened right about here. Yeah. So that had like no tonality to it whatsoever. There was no audible or discernible pitch. It was all just I don't know what the words are, but Viva la engine, maybe? It's kind of what it sounded like. Right, now let's keep going. He's added some width to it. He's added some warmth. Versus Notice how the pitch of my voice isn't changing. I'm making all these adjustments to the way that it sounds with my tongue, with my jaw, with my soft palate, relaxing and opening the pharynx, right? And if we do that with our screams, right? I'm going to go to one of my more comfort zone screams. Right? If we do that with our screams, right? You can hear how easy it is to add dynamics to a single scream, right? Very cool stuff. Good job. Nicely done. I love that.
No matter where you fuck it up, when you say nothing but isn't it better? Trust a man, what is way to rescue universe? Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. Spaceman, I'm raving like a maniac. Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. The universe is down for a rave attack. Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. Spaceman, I'm raving like a maniac. Spaceman, got a rocket on my back. The universe is down for a rave attack. Mission complete.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, that was that. Like I said, short and sweet. Wow, it still looks like it's about a 30-minute video. So I'll turn that off. Okay, cool. So let's kind of talk a little bit about what we learned. First and foremost, tons of forward resonance, tons of forward placement in this song. That helps a lot with our. I'm pulling my chair over so I got something to rest on. That helps a lot with pretty much all of our metal vocals. Now, when we're doing a lot of these, more fry forward open tones, lifting up and I had to kind of readjust what I was thinking, at least for this. Not like my overall philosophy of vocals, but just what I was hearing in this song. Don't take the importance of frontal resonance to mean that there is no use in raising your soft palate, opening up the pharynx, which is the space in the back of your mouth, right? It goes up from basically the meeting place of the mouth and the nasal cavity, right? Or the nasal passage, nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngo or laryngopharynx. It's got like 3 sections. Don't take the importance of frontal resonance to mean that opening up in the back is not useful. It is. with a lot of screams, there are many things that are going on. This, what I was hearing was very heavily Fry influenced. So if I had to lump it, I would lump it on a Fry scream for sure. No question. And great control, great relaxation on these notes. Song is definitely a little bit like every other Electric Callboy song I've done. A little bit different from what I do, a little bit outside my expertise, but it's always fun listening to and kind of absorbing the way that other people go about things. So if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Means a lot, helps the channel. If you want to hear me talk about some more gurgly, disgusting, gross, heavier metal, be sure to check out our various playlists. If you want to see a list of the students that I've worked with, feel free to check out our alumni playlist here on YouTube. And beyond that, if anything, I just appreciate y'all's time. So, with that being said, many thanks, much love, I'm out.